Good day, class. Welcome to our lecture on JFET circuit, DC and AC analysis for the fixed bias configuration. The fixed bias configuration is a common source circuit with the following parameters. We have RG. We have a source that is connected here. We call this VGG. We have RD, the external resistor connected to the drain terminal. And we have C1 and C2 for the input and the output coupling capacitors. The signal input is applied to the gate terminal via the input coupling capacitor C1, and the output is taken from the drain terminal via output coupling capacitor C2. We're going to perform DC analysis first as a recap. For the network shown on the left, determine letter A, VGSQ or the gate to source voltage, IDQ or the drain current, VDS or the drain to source voltage, VD or the drain voltage with respect to ground, VG or the gate voltage with respect to ground, and VS or the source voltage with respect to ground. Under DC condition, all capacitors are open circuit due to the very high capacitive reactance. We're going to use the graphical approach for practicality. This is going to be done in Scilab. First, we are going to solve for the Q point defined by the DC gate to source voltage and DC drain current. Let us draw the input equivalent circuit while the drain terminal is temporarily disconnected. In JFETs, we can assume that the gate current IG is approximately equal to 0 due to the sufficiently high input impedance of the JFET. This is your IG, and we can approximate that to be equal to 0. We can write the unit milliamperes or amperes. RG will be shorted in effect, giving us this equivalent circuit. We have IG of 0 amperes or milliamperes. If we multiply that by 1 megohm, the voltage across the 1 megohm resistor is still equal to 0 volt. That is why we have a short circuit equivalent for RG. Let us write down the polarities of the voltages. We have minus plus 2 volts for VGG. We have plus minus VGS for the gate to source voltage. Afterwards, let us write down the KVL equation to get the value of VGSQ. We have 2 volts, which is your VGG, plus VGS Q equals 0 volts. That's why VGSQ is fixed at negative 2 volts. From Shockley's equation, we're going to write down the equation that will define the characteristic curve of the JFET given the parameters IDSS equals 10 milliamperes and the pinch-off voltage of negative 8 volts. The pinch-off voltage is negative because the circuit uses an N-channel JFET. Writing down the equation for Shockley's equation, we have ID equals IDSS times 1 minus VGS over VP squared. ID equals 10 milliamperes times 1 minus VGS divided by negative 8 volts squared. This will be our working equation for Scilab. Let us now write the line of codes to define the characteristic curve of the JFET, and we can also plot the Q point, and we can also plot the load line of VGS equals -2 volts. So first is, let us define the range of VGS. I'm going to type VGS. This is our variable for VGS. The starting value for VGS is -8 volts. Type -8. I'm choosing an increment of 0.01, and the ending value is 0. Press enter. Let us check the length or the number of elements contained within the variable VGS. We have 801 elements inside the variable VGS. Next is, we're going to define Shockley's equation. I'm going to use ID equals, IDSS is 10 milliamperes, 10e -3, and then times 1 minus VGS divided by the pinch-off voltage of -8 volts. We have -8 caret 2. This defines Shockley's equation. For every value of VGS, there is a corresponding value of ID. Press enter. Let us check the length of variable ID. That's also 801. Next is, we're going to plot ID and VGS. We have the command plot XY. Our x-axis is VGS and our y-axis is ID, which means that ID, or the drain current, is dependent on the value of VGS. FETs are voltage control device. That's why the levels of ID are controlled by the levels of VGS. Typing the equation for plot, we have plot x-axis is VGS and then y-axis is ID. Press enter. This is the JFET characteristic curve defined by Shockley's equation. Next is, we're going to plot the load line for VGS equals -2 volts, and that will define the characteristics of your circuit. We have plot, x-axis, we have -2 and -2 because it's a straight vertical line. We have -2 space -2. Those will define your x-axis. And then for the y-axis, we have 10e -3, which is your IDSS space 0. And then let's make it red. This is the load line defined by VGS equals -2 volts. This is how we plot a vertical line in Scilab. Next is, we're going to determine the overlap between the JFET characteristic curve and the load line, which will define our Q point. We have plot, x-axis is VGS and y-axis is ID. This is your characteristic curve for the JFET, and let us retype the command for the plotting of the load line. As you can see here, we have an overlap between the characteristic curve and the load line. We can zoom that in. select Edit, Start Data Type Manager, and click on an approximate location of their overlap or intersection. That is x equals -2 and y equals 0.006, which means that VGS is equal to -2 and ID is equal to 6 milliamperes. So this is your VGSQ and this is your IDQ. From Scilab, we have determined VGSQ equals -2 volts and IDQ equals 6 milliamperes. These are the values that we're going to use to solve for the different parameters of our circuit. Now that we have determined the Q point, we can solve for the drain to source bias voltage. This is done by first drawing the equivalent circuit for the output side. Since the gate terminal does not belong to the output side, we can leave it temporarily hanging. We have RD of 2 kilo ohms. Bend the power supply to the right. This is your VDD equals 20 volts. And then we have S, which is directly connected to the ground. Let us now write the corresponding polarities and the currents. We have current ID. We have current IS equals ID. For the voltages, we have plus and minus, plus and minus. This is your VDS. We can now write down the KVL equation. We have negative VDS minus IDRD plus VDD equals 0 volts. We can substitute the values for ID, RD, and VDD to get the value of VDS. We have VDD minus ID times RD. VDD is 20 volts minus ID of 6 milliamperes times RD of 2 kilo ohms. VDS is equal to 8 volts. The drain voltage VD can be calculated from the drain node to the ground. Let us draw the equivalent circuit from the drain node to ground. We can actually use 3 equations from this point to the ground, from this point to the ground, and we can use the equation VDS equals VD minus VS. Since the source is directly connected to the ground, VS is equal to 0. Therefore, VDS is equal to VD. Since VDS is equal to VD, that is equal to 8 volts. But let us prove tracing from the drain to the ground. We have first, from this point, we have G, or the drain, and then we have plus minus VDS, and then ground. So from drain to ground, we're going to trace that. Write down VD equals everything that is in between the drain terminal and the ground, which is equal to VDS equals 8 volts. Let's use the other path from drain down to the ground. They should be all equal. Let us trace from the drain terminal minus IDRD plus VDD. VD is equal to negative 6 milliamperes times 2 kilo ohms plus 20 volts, which is also equal to 8 volts. For the gate voltage VG, use the equation VGS is equal to VG minus Vs. Since the source is directly connected to the ground, which gives us a voltage of 0 volts, VGS is equal to VG, which is equal to negative 2 volts. And lastly, for Vs, or the source voltage with respect to ground, since this is connected to the ground directly, Vs is equal to 0 volts. For the network shown on the left, determine letter A, G sub M, or the transconductance, letter B, R sub D, for admittance of 40 microsiemens, letter C, the input impedance, letter D, the output impedance, letter E, the voltage gain, and letter F, the voltage gain ignoring the effects of R sub D. Let us now illustrate the JFET AC equivalent circuit. Draw the external resistors with DC sources connected to the ground. We have RG that is connected to the gate terminal, but the other end is connected to VGG. That's why VGG is replaced by a short circuit here and then eventually connected to the ground. For R sub D, we have the other end is connected to the drain terminal and the other end is connected to VDD, which is equal to 20 volts. But under AC conditions, it will be shorted and eventually connected to the ground. All coupling capacitors are shorted since under AC conditions, capacitive reactance is very low. We have for C1, the equivalent is a short circuit, and also for C2, the equivalent is a short circuit, which is approximately equal to 0 ohms each. Solving for the transconductance when VGS is equal to 0 volts, we have GM0 equals 2 IDSS divided by the absolute value of V sub P. The absolute value of V sub P will ensure that the transconductance is positive. This is equal to 2 times IDSS of 10 milliamperes divided by the absolute value of negative 8 volts. This is equal to 20 milliamperes divided by 8 volts. This is equal to 2.5 millisiemens. We can use this value to determine the transconductance Gm. This is equal to Gm0 times 1 minus VGSQ over Vp equals 2.5 millisiemens times 1 minus negative 2 volts divided by negative 8 volts. This is equal to 1.88 millisiemens. For the AC equivalent model, we can replace Gm here with its computed value of 1.88 millisiemens times VGS. Solving for R sub D with a given output admittance of 40 microsiemens, we have R sub D equals 1 over YOS equals 1 over 40 microsiemens equals 25 kilo ohms. This is equal to 25 kilo ohms. For Z sub I, or the input impedance, we're going to look at this part. Before the input coupling capacitor, we have Z sub I. The only thing that is present at this point is R sub G. Therefore, Z sub I is equal to R sub G, which is equal to 1 meg ohm. For the output impedance, we're going to focus on this part. To determine the output impedance, we're going to zero out the input, VGS. If VGS is equal to 0, therefore ID is equal to 0. This is your ID represented by the dependent current source. Therefore, this will be an open circuit. And looking from the right of the output coupling capacitor, we will have this equivalent circuit. We have RD and RD, which is the external resistor. That's why the output impedance, Z sub O, can be computed by getting the parallel combination of R sub D and R sub D, which is equal to 25 kilo ohms, parallel with 2 kilo ohms. Therefore, the output impedance ZO is equal to 1.85 kilo ohms. Solving for the voltage gain A sub V, let us get first the equation for the output voltage VO. We have VO, that is the voltage across R sub D, and also the R sub D here. But ignoring the effects first of this small letter R sub D, which is the output resistance of your FET, we will have here a flow for the drain current. You have plus, minus. Therefore, the output voltage V out, or VO, is equal to negative ID times RD. But this ID here is equal to negative GM times VGS times RD. And we know that V sub I, or the input voltage, is the voltage between the gate and the source terminals. So we have VGS. Replacing the equation for the output voltage VO, we have negative GM times VGS, which this time will be expressed as VI, or the input voltage, times RD. The equation for the voltage gain is the output voltage divided by the input voltage. We can determine the ratio between the output and the input voltage using this equation. We have negative GM times RD Substituting the values for GM and RD, we have A sub V, or the voltage gain, equals negative GM of 1.88 millisiemens times RD of 2 kilo ohms, which is equal to negative 3.76. This is unitless because this is the voltage gain. The negative sign here indicates that the output is out of phase by 180 degrees with respect to the input. So for example, if the input voltage is, let's say, 10 millivolts peak, the output would be equal to the input 10 millivolts peak times the gain of 3.76. So we have negative 37.6 millivolts peak. This time we're going to determine the voltage gain A sub V, taking into consideration the effect of the output resistance R sub D. We have the equation for the output voltage of this is negative GM times VGS times the parallel combination of RD and RD we know that the input voltage V sub I is equal to VGS. Rewriting the equation for the output voltage, we have negative G sub M times V sub I times R sub D parallel with R sub D. And then getting the equation for the voltage gain, we have output voltage divided by the input voltage from this equation. That's equal to negative G sub M times the output resistance R sub D parallel with R sub D. And then A sub V is equal to negative 1.88 millisiemens times the parallel combination of output resistance R sub D and external resistor R sub D, which is equal to 1.85 kilo ohms. Therefore, the voltage gain is equal to negative 3.48, which is a value that is near the voltage gain we have determined a while ago, ignoring the effects of the output resistance R sub D. So for example, we have an input signal voltage of 10 millivolts peak. The output would be equal to the gain, the voltage gain, negative 3.48. Again, that's unitless, times the input of 10 millivolts peak, which is equal to negative 34.8 millivolts peak. That concludes our discussion for now. Thank you for watching.